Welcome to Trending Update USA, I'm Steffan. Tonight we're diving into a moment at the Australian Open that has sparked global debate, emotional reactions, and serious questions about the modern direction of professional tennis. Coco Gauff, one of the sport's brightest stars and most marketable athletes, found herself at the center of an uncomfortable situation when cameras captured what was meant to be a private emotional breakdown. What should have been a personal moment of vulnerability instead became viral content, shared, analyzed, monetized, and turned into entertainment for millions. And that's where the controversy truly begins. Coco Gauff has always carried pressure differently. From the age of 15, she was labeled the future of American tennis. Endorsements, expectations, comparisons to Serena Williams, and nonstop media attention followed her every move. She embraced the spotlight with grace, maturity, and professionalism beyond her years. But even champions are human. Even global stars have moments when the weight becomes too heavy. During her Australian Open campaign, after a difficult match filled with momentum swings and emotional strain, Coco was seen retreating to what she believed was a private space. Her shoulders slumped. Tears welled up. Frustration poured out. It was raw. It was real. And it was never meant for the world to see. But the world saw it anyway. Because in today's tennis environment, privacy is almost non-existent. Hidden cameras. Long-lens shots. Player tunnels with broadcast angles. Mic'd courts. Constant content generation. Every emotion is now potential footage. Every breakdown is a clip. Every tear is engagement. And that is exactly what happened. Within minutes, the video was everywhere. Social media accounts replayed it. Sports shows slowed it down. Commentators speculated about her mental state. Headlines turned her pain into clickbait. What should have been a protected moment became a product. And fans were furious. Not at Coco, but at the system. Thousands of viewers called out the Australian Open and tennis broadcasters for crossing ethical lines. Many pointed out that there are fewer and fewer genuine private areas for players. Tunnels once meant to give athletes a breather now serve as filming zones. Practice courts are monitored. Warm-up rooms are covered. Even moments meant to be away from the spotlight are still under surveillance. The tournament is marketed as a celebration of sport, but behind the scenes, it's also a massive content factory. Every emotion sells. Every struggle attracts clicks. Every vulnerability becomes profit. Coco Gauff's emotional moment simply exposed what many players have quietly complained about for years. This isn't new. Naomi Osaka has spoken openly about how constant media pressure damaged her mental health. Ash Barty once stepped away entirely. Serena Williams fought back against intrusive coverage. Young players entering the tour now face more exposure than any generation before them. But what made Coco's moment different is how clearly it showed there was no escape. No safe space. No off-camera zone. Just endless observation. And that raises an uncomfortable question. Has professional tennis stopped treating players as human beings and started treating them as non-stop content machines? The Australian Open, like every Grand Slam, is no longer just a sporting event. It's a digital spectacle. TikTok clips, Instagram reels, live streams, behind-the-scenes access, mic'd-up sessions, emotional storylines, and constant narrative building are now essential to its business model. Broadcasters don't just want forehands and backhands. They want tears. They want drama. They want vulnerability. Because emotion keeps people watching. But where does ethical responsibility fit into that? Should a player in emotional distress be filmed without consent? Should private spaces exist where athletes can decompress without lenses following them? Should tournaments prioritize mental well-being over viral moments? Coco Gauff's reaction after seeing the footage said everything. Reports suggest she was deeply upset that the moment was recorded and shared. Not because she was embarrassed to feel emotion, but because it was taken from her without permission. It wasn't part of the match. It wasn't public behavior. It was a personal release. And it was turned into content. Fans across social media flooded timelines with messages of support for Coco, and anger toward tournament organizers. Many said they felt uncomfortable watching it. Others said they refused to share the clip out of respect. Several former players even hinted that the sport has gone too far with constant surveillance. One former pro wrote that players used to have locker rooms, hallways, and recovery areas that were completely off-limits to cameras, sacred spaces where emotions could happen safely. Now those lines are blurred or erased entirely. And younger players are paying the price. Coco is just 21. Despite her trophies, her confidence, her global fame, she is still growing, learning, and dealing with pressure most people never experience in a lifetime. The expectation to perform perfectly while being constantly watched is exhausting. Sports psychologists have warned for years that athletes need decompression moments. They need emotional privacy. They need to process failure and frustration away from the public eye. Without that, burnout becomes inevitable. Mental health struggles increase. Anxiety grows. And the love for the sport can slowly disappear. Which is exactly what tennis has already witnessed, with several high-profile players stepping away. What makes this even more troubling is that the footage wasn't accidental. Modern tournaments design camera coverage intentionally to capture everything. It's part of the broadcast package. The closer the lens, the stronger the emotional connection for viewers. But emotional connection should never come at the cost of human dignity. And Coco's moment may finally force tennis to confront that. Some fans are now calling for official, camera-free zones for players. Areas where no filming is allowed. Spaces where athletes can cry, breathe, reflect, and regroup without being turned into viral content. Others want stricter broadcast rules, no filming emotional distress outside of matches. No slow-motion breakdown replays. No speculation segments based on private reactions. Because there's a line between storytelling and exploitation. And many believe that line was crossed. The Australian Open has not yet issued a strong statement addressing the incident directly, which has only fueled frustration. Critics say silence suggests that viral exposure is seen as a success, not a problem. After all, the clip generated millions of views. Engagement skyrocketed. Headlines trended. From a business standpoint, it worked. From a human standpoint, it failed. And Coco Gauff became the example. But the bigger picture goes beyond one tournament or one player. This is about modern sports culture, where athletes are no longer just competitors. They are brands, content streams, story arcs, and emotional entertainment. Where moments of pain are treated like highlight reels. Where privacy is sacrificed for profit. And where young stars grow up under constant digital pressure. The danger is that fans slowly become desensitized to it. That we normalize watching breakdowns. That we expect access to every emotion. That we forget there is a person behind the performance. Coco's vulnerability reminded everyone of that. It reminded people that even champions cry. Even stars struggle. Even the strongest athletes have breaking points. And those moments deserve compassion, not cameras. Interestingly, this moment has actually strengthened Coco's connection with fans. Many say they admire her even more now. Not because she broke down, but because she showed humanity in a system that rarely allows it. Support messages poured in from around the world. Young athletes said they felt seen. Parents thanked her for showing that pressure is real. Mental health advocates praised her strength. And ironically, what the cameras tried to exploit ended up creating a wave of empathy instead. But it still doesn't make it right. Because she didn't choose to share that moment. It was taken. And that's the core issue. In a sport that constantly talks about respect, sportsmanship, and player welfare, moments like this expose the gap between words and reality. Tennis organizations promote mental health awareness campaigns while simultaneously allowing nonstop surveillance that increases emotional stress. They encourage players to open up about struggles, but then profit when those struggles are captured on film. It's a contradiction that is becoming harder to ignore. Coco Gauff's emotional moment wasn't just a viral clip. It was a warning. A reminder that the sport is drifting into dangerous territory where privacy no longer exists. Where young athletes are expected to perform under a microscope. where vulnerability is content, and where profit often comes before people. The Australian Open may be one of the most prestigious tournaments in the world, but moments like this challenge its image as a player-friendly event. If tennis truly wants to protect its stars, especially the next generation, it must rethink how much access is too much. Because without boundaries, the cost won't just be emotional. It will be careers. It will be mental health. It will be the future of the sport. And Coco Gauff, unintentionally, may have started the conversation that forces change. Not through a trophy. Not through a speech. But through a moment of real, unfiltered humanity that the world was never meant to see. And perhaps that's the most powerful statement of all.